About my goals and affirmations that we'll talk about. We obviously have covered, in 2.5 days, we've covered a great deal of material, but we still haven't gotten to the beef, as it were, for some people, because they want to know, how do I get money, how do I get debt, how do I get this, how do I spill coffee all over the fucking wall like you did just now, the wallpaper, but we'll get to that, but unless you learn how to do this first, you're not going to be able to do the other. It's that simple. And that may be hard to swallow, but it's the truth. And we talked about previous experiences, and if I hadn't had some of the previous experiences I had, I wouldn't be here. And I talked about when the Kuwait was invaded by the Iraqis these many years ago, and I was the third largest investment that the Kuwaiti government had in the United States. So in those days, I used to carry a gun to the office. Not this gun, which is a real gun. I used to carry double 45 automatic pearl-handled shoulder-holstered automatics to the office because we were under death threats, bomb threats, etc. And we had employees quit. We had people not come to the office. I think I told you earlier that the board members said they'd send me their proxies. And this was a public company, but it's your company, Dan, you take care of it. And so now when I go into a meeting with Marcus, whoever, and I said earlier, what are they going to do to me? Shoot me? It's the worst thing that could possibly happen. Nothing like that. And so when I used to walk into meetings and I used to drive around Houston with my twin 45 automatics, and I take my coat off for a meeting. Well, you could see them actually before I took the coat off for a meeting. But when I took my coat off for a meeting, I sat down. And in Texas, you can carry guns. They don't much care. And I'm told you can still carry guns in Texas. And I'm told you can still shoot people down like dogs in the street in Texas. I haven't lived there in a while, but those were the good old days. But apparently the good old days still exist in Texas. And for those of you that are watching me on YouTube, if it has changed, please email me or tweet me and tell me that the times have changed and you can't shoot people down like dogs anymore. All kidding aside, I'm sure you can't shoot people down like dogs anymore because that wouldn't be politically correct. But when we start role-playing later on, you'll think that maybe you want to shoot me down like a dog because I'm poking fun at you and I'm asking you to do things that you're clearly out of your comfort zone. Now, I have the tests back. They don't look 100% accurate to me, but before we get into that, on the success test, just to clarify and summarize, we had 2 perfect scores. We had Marcus and we had Chip. We had Robert a -2 because he says, like Bodo Schaefer said, that the test is in air. Correct? That's correct, okay. And we've had Father George, who should be an angel now because he's basically dead on this earth. So he had the...
But also not a test for the Christians.
No. He had the porous test. And maybe that's the way it should be. I'm not sure. I'm not justifying the poor score, but he had the lowest score, highest score meaning the lowest results. Interestingly enough, the God-botherers had the worst pessimistic test and the worst optimistic test. The God-botherers did. And maybe that's the way it should be again. But then again, that's not why they're here. So there's a dichotomy there, which we will discuss later. But to look at the scores from over the years, as I said earlier, and for those people that are on YouTube, and you can take these tests on my website, They're for free, all 3 tests. You may not like the results, but they've got a, well over a 95% accuracy rate, closer to 98 or 99% when you take all 3 tests in correlation. But as I said earlier, and I wanted to say again, because now I have everybody's score, that the scores are pretty good. Now, where's your score?
I think Candy's looking into it.
She's looking into it. Is that a Punjabi answer, or is that?
It's
That's
the only
what-
answer I have.
Huh? Okay.
She's going to liaise with someone, Thelma.
Lays?
With Thelma.
Oh, she's gonna lay A's.
With Thelma, based in the Philippines.
There's gonna be a collaboration.
Absolutely.
A collaboration.
To trace my
A
score.
Punjabi collaboration. And Thelma's not Punjabi.
It's international.
Yes. Bullshit is international. There's no question about bullshit. But when bullshit comes out of a female, everybody laughs. When a guy bullshits, it's not so funny. But when a woman bullshits, it's funny. It's humorous. Because I think it's more politically correct for a woman to bullshit. Because they don't call it bullshit. They call it, oh, I'm just being a woman. I'm just being feminine. I'm just being a mother. Kind of like the stuff that you've palmed off on us the last 2 days. Okay? I like to talk to your kids, is who I'd like to talk to. Like, what's the real deal with your mom? Is she all up there, or is she just out in the wind? But you all did pretty well. You all did pretty well, and so I'm happy about that. And we've never had, although we have had a psychiatrist come to the seminar, we haven't had need of it. And I think I told you I used to be in business with a group of psychiatrists that came here who were actually the funniest people, and they were Indians, and all of them, and they were really quite funny because they took mental health, or I should say the lack thereof, as a given. And that there are people, so many sick people, otherwise we'd be out of work. And they were a pretty funny group. That was a number of years ago. Are any questions about anything? Currently, we're on goal setting, and I think I mentioned it earlier that one of the guys that is really quite funny, to be a renegade, to break the rules, says this guy looks forward to the day that he's sued by the Justice Department because he knows that that's his goal in life, to be sued by the Justice Department in his industry, because he knows then, and only then, will he be at the top of the heap, along with Microsoft and a lot of other people. So, if there's no questions, we'll get into, we're going to talk about my affirmations and my goals, but we're not going to do it on YouTube. So, we'll see you guys this afternoon, and that'll be all. Thank you.